Hey, Chief Doggy Dog in the his house. And what is this? A couple of stragglers come into the Talking Joe studios. Who is it?
It's me, Chief. It's Ben. I'm back on Talking Joe. You've lured me back in.
Yeah, get a haircut, you hippie.
Dude, I've got one booked in on Wednesday.
Wow. I see someone else coming in through the cat flap.
Hi, Chris McLeod here, aka Diagnostic Aid from the Four Horseman podcast. It's been a while. How are you doing?
Very well. Is that door shutting behind you, or is there someone else?
Oh, Chris, you must be pretty slim these days to fit through the cat flap. My word. It's S-Jub 7, guys, and today on Talking Joe, I am the audience.
What does that mean? That means you're not contributing? Or?
He's asking the questions, mate.
Well, geez, it's a dream come true, guys. Talking Joe was my favorite podcast of all.
Holy smoke.
Then I took over.
So I'd like to pay tribute to each and every one of you at this point. Just say thank you for all the great listening. So it's ironic that I'm now part of it, but before that happened, it was top of the pops for me.
God, this is like being in a virtual chat room full of Chief's ex-wives or something.
Not too far from the truth. Break and replace is what he always says.
Purely sexual relationships, though. That was all it was.
What a journey this pod has been on, Chief. Jeez.
I think when we started, you and me were thinking we might go maybe 10 episodes. And then one episode. And I listened back to episode 1 and it is so boring. It is so boring. How did we get to number 80? I've got no idea. But, there you go.
I haven't dared listen back, to be honest with you.
We mixed it up. The show evolved. The show adapted. We've put a lot of great stuff into the show. And it's S-Jubs, you giving praise. I want to give praise to all three of you boys for, being on the journey of this thing that we all did together. And, it's something to be proud of, I think.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
I think it is something to be proud of, Chief. I think if you do a podcast for any longer than 3 months, that's something to be proud of. Because podcasting can be a slog. It can be hard work. And I always just think the thing with a podcast is you have to keep going. Then it's sort of successful and worth it. Because so many people, it's so easy to stop doing them, as I did with this one. Because you get burnout. And the fact that you've kept doing it is really impressive, to be honest with you.
He just keeps refreshing it up by getting a new person involved. That's what he does.
Diagnostic and S-Jubs, they've been doing it way longer than when we started. They were already veterans of the field, so
7 years.
Yeah, well, guys, have you ever had the burnout? Because it's something that seems to happen to me. And what do you do when you get that?
If you don't mind, Stephen, I'd like to take this one just quickly.
Go for it, Chris.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if you were just not talking to me anymore.
Champing at the bit. Don't worry, I'll get my say one of these days.
So we started the Full Force podcast like 7 years ago, almost.
Wow.
Probably close, actually. It's coming up to 7-year anniversary. And I know Judge Oberg's probably going longer than that, actually.
9 years of my life.
Exactly. And I was listening to Steve and the boys for a while. I was listening to What's on Joe Mind and all those guys. And I was kind of like, I wanted to talk about this stuff with friends and so on and so forth, and wanted to come at it with a different angle. So we started we started with an audio podcast about Action Force and G.I. Joe and stuff like that. And it was fun and we loved it. But what I found was the best thing we could do was to keep evolving, moving forward, progressing, changing. And that meant refreshing everything on a regular basis, because if you're just doing you're right, you have to keep going with it. But if you keep going with the same thing over and over again, personally for me, it just would kill me, I think.
Yep. So not really for a listener's point of view, it's almost for your own sanity.
Absolutely. I don't do anything for a listener's point of view.
Yeah, Ben, I'd second Chris on that. It's actually not about the listenership. I mean, I think having a podcast is literally just having your own soapbox.
Yeah.
Whether you have listeners or no listeners, it's so important to just pour yourself out into something,
Yeah, agreed.
Get your opinions out there. We spend so much time with our thoughts rattling around upstairs and no one to tell them to, because no one has our specific interests. Our exact sort of cocktail of things that make up us. So to be able to just wax about it for an hour and a half every week, oh, it's so important.
Yeah.
Man. I think everyone should have a podcast, to be honest. Imagine how polluted the airwaves would be then.
I think everyone does have a podcast now. It seems to be the done thing.
Yeah, I don't think people talk on the phone anymore. They just do a podcast with their mates.
Yeah, it's like COVID kicked off, and it's like, oh, what am I going to do? I know, podcast, and that meant like everybody. Like all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure we went to Target, I think, to get like a couple of things to help with the live stream, like, you know, extra headphones and so on and so forth. We go in there and the entire, like, everything you'd need for a podcast was missing on the shelves, and you just think, wow, people are obviously doing, like, you know, live streaming, and they're doing, you know, their own little kind of chat things with friends on Zoom or whatever cast like we're doing right now. But, you know, it's I found that really interesting. But yeah,
you saying Target's made me think that they're selling this Target exclusive Mongoose Stranger Things BMX I'm desperate to get. Damn it.
I will.
The shipping, they don't ship to the UK, Chief, and I need that bike.
Okay, well, you better get over to the USA then.
Oh, yeah. Target are quite good for that. They often do these cool little exclusives.
Yeah. I know what's coming, though. It's going to be, Chris, could you...
Postage and packaging. Just pop that in an envelope.
Yeah, stick it in a jiffy bag and send it on.
Just send one part at a time, one a month, that's kind of part work. Build it yourself.
One mag wheel at a time.
It'll be a BMX subscription service you'll be on, basically.
Yeah. Apparently, the rumor was that if you snapped your mag wheel, if you put it in the freezer, it fixed it. It didn't. That's just complete garbage.
That's the garbage.
It freezes it.
That's exactly what it does.
But anyway,
listen. When Full Force and Talking Joe first met up, and we did the super special Talking Force episodes,
amazing.
We kind of said that, or I kind of said, I'll be Macho Man, because obviously referencing the Mega Powers, with the Mega Powers coming together, referencing the WWF tag team. I was Macho Man. Chris was Hogan. we needed a Miss Elizabeth and a Mean Gene Okerlund, so that's where you two boys come in. But it got me thinking about other quartets in pop culture. So
Beatles.
I've got 4 categories here. Each of us are going to pick one category and then determine who we are from that pop culture quartet.
Love it. Do it.
Who wants to go first?
Stephen said he wanted to go first.
Okay, so Stephen, the categories are, pick a category: spooks, fighters, team, or family.
Now, you had me scratching my head about the spooks category, because I could not for the life of me... I mean, are we talking about, like, Universal Monsters here?
Do you want that category? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so... spooks.
Stop the mystery, Chief.
Pac-Man has 4 ghosts: Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. Which one would you be?
Is it Inky, the Cobra Commander looking one?
Well, I'll tell you each what their traits are.
I can tell you what their goddamn traits are. I'm looking at the cabinet right now, Chief. I've got a Pac-Man machine in my room, and Blinky is an absolute bastard.
That's me then.
Well, Blinky is the one that directly follows Pac-Man.
No, let me tell you what he is. He is the most advanced form of AI mankind has ever made.
Well, I'm telling you what the actual facts are. Blinky follows Pac-Man. Inky sets his position relative to Blinky and Pac-Man. Pinky tries to cut off Pac-Man and preempt him. And Clyde just randomly sometimes runs away from Pac-Man.
Can I be Stinky?
Yeah, but then they look after their own quadrants as well. Yeah, I go pretty deep with Pac-Man.
Okay. So anyway, S-Jubs, what do you want? Do you want Blinky, who generally chases Pac-Man, Inky, who kind of in between Blinky and Pac-Man, Pinky, who corners him, or Clyde, who just runs randomly?
Oh, jeez, Chief. Too technical for my liking. I'm just going to go with the appearance, man. I'll go with the blue
Inky.
Ghost. Oh, yeah.
Okay, fine.
I'd be Stinky, just to...
You'd be Stinky.
Yeah.
I'll probably take Clyde, just randomly running around, and then Ben, I don't know who you want to be.
I'll be the poop-flavoured one.
There's only one left, Chief. That's going to be me.
Okay, yeah. Well, there you go. Whatever was left, I don't know. Anyway, moving on, next category. Who wants the next one?
I heard Ben said he wanted to do it.
Ben,
go on, Chief. Lay it on me.
You want fighters, team, or family?
Family.
Family. Okay, the first family of comics. Who would you be? Reed Richards, Sue Richards, Johnny Storm, or Ben Grimm?
Johnny Storm.
Yeah, you got a bit of Johnny Storm about you.
Am I going to be the Thing?
I was putting S-Jubs in the thing role, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Whoa.
I put you in the Invisible Woman role.
Oh, perfect. I'm well up for that.
I'll take
up
Reed
for it.
Richards, although that does mean technically we're married.
Exactly. That's why I'm all excited about it. I get a bit of that Plastic Man action, is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So Captain America did 2 films as Human Torch, didn't he? What's his name?
Yeah, Chris Evans.
Wild, man.
Yeah, that is wild. I wonder if he could star in some kind of quasi crossover movie, playing both roles in the same movie. That'd
Yeah,
be
some
wild.
sort of alternate universe.
I don't think he's interested.
Right, 2 categories. Did
Fighters.
I hear Chief say he wanted to go next?
No, he didn't. Fighters. I'm having fighters.
Fighters. Okay, this quartet of pop culture figures characters are Street Fighter 2 boss characters.
Knew it.
Oh,
Knew it.
come on,
Knew
Chief.
it.
Great.
I'm Vega. Well,
Vega.
technically,
He can jump off the goddamn side of the walls like Chun-Li.
but in Japan, he's Balrog, right?
Yeah, correct. They
So
switched him over.
I'll be Japanese Balrog.
God, I guess I'm quite tall. I'll be Sagat, even though he's a douche.
Ah, you bastard! He's my favourite. All right.
You're M. Bison, clearly, Chief.
Yeah, come on, Chief.
You're the head of Shadaloo right now.
Although, hang on, Japanese M. Bison?
Oh, sorry, Vega.
Yeah, he
Japanese
is
Vega.
Vega.
Yeah.
And that leaves S-Jubs. That leaves you with Balrog.
/ M. Bison. Mike Bison.
/ M. Bison. Yeah, of course.
I'm
yeah.
Mike Bison, baby.
I love that. I love
Balrog, he
the
cannot kick, man, can he? He's got no kick.
No.
Ironically, that was my first Street Fighter 2 action figure. Good old Balrog.
Doesn't Balrog / Mike Bison, doesn't he do one where he drops down to the ground and kind of sticks his leg out like a little...
Yeah. Slides
so
along the deck.
That is the worst kick option, though, isn't
It's
it?
horrible,
You're right.
isn't it? It's cheese, isn't it? It's cheese. Last category is team, and this team.
I heard Stephen wants to do this one as well because he doesn't want Chief to have one.
this team. Stephen, you can do this one as
Ooh.
well. This is team, and it's the A team.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez, man.
I mean, well, it all comes down to who BA is, I guess.
It's BLM. No one wants to black up.
I'm not...
Jesus.
Unless we substitute BA for Amy.
I'll
Yeah.
be Amy. I'll be Amy. I'll be the van.
I'll be Face Man's vet. Nice.
You're clearly
Oh, nice.
Face, Stephen.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, really?
Face Man.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be Face Man. I'll
Chief
take
is
that.
obviously Hannibal. That
Yeah,
leaves,
you are, Chief.
That leaves Ben as Murdoch and me as the
Jeez.
van.
Christ, I'm fake Jim Carrey.
Hey,
Anyway.
man, he taught Jim everything he knows.
I think he did, actually.
Okay, I'm not sure if that was a waste of time. S-Jubs, you're in editing control. If you want to cut that segment out, up to you.
That was brilliant.
Consider it gone. Ha ha ha.
Don't you dare. That better be in there.
Right, I think I am getting a bit peckish over here at 9:28 p.m. in the UK. It's
Snack
a bit more.
time. Classic
Yeah, a
Chief,
bit
you
snack
go to
time.
bed in half an hour. That's going to sit on you all night. You could have like a heart attack or something.
Snack attacker. Chief and Chris, like Han Solo and Chewbacca, are travelling through hyperspace to get some snacks. Snack attacker. I'll tell you what I've got. I've got a packet of Serious Pig snacking pickles. I'm going to open them up while I crunch one.
When you
someone-
said serious pigs, I thought they were going to be those like sweets that are shaped like a pig's face for a second.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the M&S sweets.
They are good. Someone else go. Someone else go.
Okay, I got a chocolate eclair from M&S. It's massive. Oh God, it's so late to be eating this.
Put it all in your mouth at once.
Oh God,
Done. Perfect.
Oh, these are well
it's
good.
insane. There's no. Why would you eat anything else? You'd be massive. You would be massive.
I have got Justin's cashew butter covered cashews.
Oh, they sound
So
good.
I'm opening this bag up.
Do it.
Here we go. Oh, they look nice. They look very cool. Coated little cashews. Here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not much crunch on them.
No, not at all. But my goodness, they're like
Stealth.
It's like, how am I getting all of the tastes in one go?
Well,
It
you are.
kind of you expect it to be white chocolate, but it's not. But it's still very creamy and lovely. It's amazing.
S-Jubs?
I have got a bag of Doritos limited edition Mountain Dew energized flavor. What
wow. God.
the actual... After
I
a
saw
refreshing
that.
zesty zing, We've combined the lemon citrus flavor of Mountain Dew with the signature Doritos full-on crunch.
It's over for S-Jubs.
When you said limited edition,
I'm a dead man.
I always think of those ones in the 90s that had the Star Wars Special Edition Tazos.
Yeah.
And you could only get the exclusive ones with Dories.
I'm looking at my Tazo folder right now.
Dude, yes!
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I have to say, I saw those on Twitter like about 2 weeks ago, I think. And
Right.
I even saved the image of the on my desktop. I saved the image of the Mountain Dew infused Doritos just randomly because I thought this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And you have them, and I can't believe you're about to eat them. What are they like?
Well, Chris, exactly. To satisfy everyone's curiosity, here we go. Yeah, I better taste Mountain Dew, though. What the hell is Mountain Dew anyway?
Well, I guess you'll find
I
out.
better
in a
get
way.
some crunch. Oh,
Chemicals is what Mountain Dew is.
Sugar.
Yeah, it's not the drink, that's for sure. The chips are kind of greenish.
You
They've got
can't
like
drink your crisps.
Exactly.
Well, funny you
Well,
should say that
Funny you
because
should say that. What are you washing it down with?
Mountain Dew energized.
Oh no, he's
thought
double
it was
No,
gonna
whammy.
you
be-
crossed the streams there,
I thought
buddy.
it was,
Big
I thought
time,
it was
big
going to be
time.
Mountain Dew, but with the flavour of like cheddar Doritos or something.
Ah, yeah, right. Drink that cheese.
Oh, it is actually citrusy. I'm getting like an aftertaste from the chip. That's
Oh
like
my goodness.
There's
weird.
an alarm going off at head office there. There's a crazy man out there.
He's double dipped on Mountain
It's
Dew.
like, they're scrambling the jets.
This drink is like, it's glowing green.
Go on, open it up. Open it up.
If I do not turn into a Ninja Turtle after swigging this, I'll be very disappointed. Oh,
It is so green.
so green.
So basically, you've got gamma chips, is what you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hulk smash!
Yes.
Yeah. Or
Okay,
is it supposed to be an energy drink? This is a different thing.
No.
This is
No.
energy-
Oh, hang on. If it's energized, probably.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, since it is 6:30 a.m., it's exactly what I need.
Yes. I've got a drink I've never had before. Will be very familiar with US listeners. This is a bottle of all natural Virgil's handcrafted root beer. I have no idea what root beer is.
Virgil.
What?
Tracy.
All natural.
Virgil.
Virgil's.
Right, okay.
That's the brand. Virgil's.
What, like $1 Million Man's mate?
No, no, definitely not.
His bodyguard. That, I tell you what, that wouldn't fly today. Jeez.
I don't know what root beer is, but I look at the ingredients and it says sparkling water, cane sugar, natural flavouring. So is root beer literally just sugar water?
Well, all of it is.
Most contemporary drinks are sugary water.
I'm having a go. My first ever
Flavoured.
root beer.
Is it like dandelion and burdock?
Ah,
It's what he drinks in Toe Jam and Earl.
That is horrible. It tastes like, you know when you go to the dentist and you've got to wash your mouth out with that pink liquid?
Is that what root beer tastes like?
That's what root beer tastes like.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Brilliant.
I'll give it a wide berth.
Yeah, do it. Oh, it's horrible.
Isn't it the same as sarsaparilla?
I can't stop drinking it though. Right, who's next?
All right, well, I just went into the fridge, and when I was getting my chocolate eclair, I was like, oh, Christ, I need a drink. So I grabbed a elderflower and rosé, gently bubbling with real elderflowers.
Wow.
And what that's a wine, is it? That's a rosé wine.
That's wine, my friend.
Okay, wow.
Let's crack it open. Oh, shit, I can't get any purchase, Chief. Hang on.
Ray Bloody Perch.
Is that a 750 ml or like a single serving personal wine?
No, this is full tilt, and I've got
Ooh.
a really cool Blade Runner glass that I got for Christmas. You know the ones that he drinks out of? He has his whiskey.
Yeah, man.
No.
They're all angular.
Sick.
Wait a minute.
Pouring a big glass there. I hear the glugs.
Yeah, that's a family size, as you say.
No, he's not pouring it into a glass. He's pouring it directly into his mouth from the bottle.
I tell you what, didn't let it breathe.
Oh my god, that is so refreshing. I
Okay.
feel new.
So by the end of this episode, we're going to have a man who's wasted on rosé elderflower wine and a man who's
Shit-faced.
hulked up on gamma radiation.
Or the
Yeah.
gas.
Steve Banner.
God, it's so bubbly.
Yeah, diagnostic. What you tipping the scales here with?
I couldn't be bothered to get a newie, so
Yes.
I'm just drinking my classic, all-time favourite,
It's not kombucha.
Arizona green tea with ginseng and honey.
That is your classic. You had that on the
First ever episode.
the other show that we did. I don't know.
Yeah, every episode I usually have it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And just pretend you're having something else.
I just pretend. No, I just pretend to the viewers like it's the first time I've ever said it on the. Yeah, and it's like, no, yeah, I got a new one today, guys.
Oh, Rose is so much fun.
Yeah,
Especially
good.
on a Sunday at 9:30.
Good. Right, let's.
This has been a rip-roaring success so far, fellas. I'm loving it.
Really listener friendly. Let's crack into issue 200, and then we can have some more banter and catch up after that. So this is, what have we got here? This is March 2014.
Oh, those are the years.
Those were the years. The cover on my one I've got here is the Cobra Commander in his battle armour, kind of doing
Not really.
semi-Heil Hitler. Well, no, not his battle armour. Sorry, no, the battle faceplate, I guess.
That's not the one you sent me, Chief.
Which is the cover you got? You got the one with Duke and Cobra Commander fighting on a vehicle.
I don't know. It took me 4 hours to open up the file because it seemed to have some. I don't know. It was a file I've never come across
That's
before.
a modern
but
HISS tank, by the way.
It's not what you're describing.
Okay. Well, no, there's multiple covers. This is modern comic books. This is not the 1980s anymore when there's only one cover.
Okay.
You get variant covers nowadays.
How many did you get?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
8?
6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
Oh, my one was not a good one.
2 of them were just blank covers for sketches. I don't know, what's your favourite cover here? We'll post the images up on the socials, but what's
Your one
people's
sounds good.
favourites here? Obviously, Ben, you've only got one.
Yeah, I can only see the one where it's like from afar and Cobra Commander's standing on the HISS tank.
Yes, yep.
But it's absolutely nothing special.
No, but that cover is, I guess, would you fairly say it's a reference to the one where Destro and Hawk are fighting and on the HISS tank?
Possibly.
But what cover was that one? It's back in
20s.
16, is it? Maybe something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Was that Night Attack with Hawk and Destro punching it out on the back
And
of the
Cobra
HISS tank?
Commander's on the turret of the HISS, and he's going to shoot
man.
them. I think that's a bit of an homage to that, maybe, but I don't know.
Sure.
To me, I've got to say this. I think that cover looks like it could be a Calvin and Hobbes cover or like a Calvin and Hobbes illustration because the vehicle is like just off the ground. It looks like it's bouncing like down the hill like really fast.
Yeah, and they're in the box car. You see them? Yeah. I see that now.
Duke is Calvin and Cobra Commander is Hobbes, and they're just having an absolute blast.
The colouring as well, the kind of the orangey background again makes it sort of look that. Yeah, good
I
shout.
think it's hilarious.
There's one here by Jamie Tyndall, which is a little bit, I don't know, oversexed of Baroness. But
Yeah,
that's pretty
big
much
time.
all of his art.
I love the one with Optimus Prime on the cover. Boy,
What?
oh boy, did you think you were in for the wrong kind of issue if you bought that cover?
Exactly.
What's he doing on there?
It's madness.
Interestingly enough, though, the common knowledge of this era of comics was that Larry was ramping up for a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. And you'll see when you get to a certain issue that that's where he was headed, and it went a completely different direction.
Oh, really?
Because IDW signed on to do this big crossover Revolution series.
Oh, yeah.
And that meant that it took the Transformers off the table for Larry and A Real American Hero, and he had to kind of change pace. So maybe this was a
Teaser almost.
almost like a teaser thing into that, possibly.
Oh, I see.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure, Steve, you knew that, didn't you? About the Transformers crossover?
Well, yeah, I knew about the Revolutions book, but I mean, the fact that Larry was prepared to put Transformers into his own baby, like that's crazy, man.
Yeah,
The
and
dude's
I think
slipping. Big time.
Well, I guess we ended up with, if we wanted our G.I. Joe Transformers fix, we ended up with the Tom Sholey one, which is...
Totally, yeah, unsurpassed in my mind. But yeah, I can't believe Larry would build to that point. And Chief, this is what we've been talking about as like the long game, which it's a real long game in terms of paying that off. Like, don't expect it anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
They teased it at the end of this issue again. How many times are they going to dangle that?
Oh,
guy?
is that what they're teasing at the end?
Yeah,
Is that what's
baby.
meant to be in the hangar? I
The
see.
secret of the pit. It's not just Y-wings.
Yeah, right, we'll come on to that.
The Y-wings.
Listen, so let's dig into the meat, but before we do, we'll have a quick recap for those not up to speed. So, last time on A Real American Hero, G.I. Joe has managed to push back the rebel threat in Sierra Gordo while uncovering their true nature, advanced B.A.Ts developed by Cobra in conjunction with the Blue Ninja Clan. With this new information, G.I. Joe heads back to their HQ, the Pit. Meanwhile, back at the Pit, Cobra has taken over. Scarlet, Snake Eyes and the team left behind from the Sierra Gordo mission hatch a plan to take the base back. Slowly, they whittle down the Cobra ranks and press back Cobra Commander's forces.
Cool, man.
That actually, when you said rebel forces, I was like, hang on, is this an episode of Clone Wars?
So this is pretty crazy for me because I am coming in cold as on this, and I didn't know what to expect because I haven't read any of these. And I was kind of like really into this. I was like, oh, I get it. This has been like written for me, and they're totally leaning into, you know, everything people liked about that initial run. I don't know why, but I thought this run was going to be like really zany and crazy, but it feels super grounded.
Well,
would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, Larry got more military ground, or kind of put more like influence into kind of real world stuff, didn't he? Like as he kind of went along in the Real American Hero. But the thing is, you say that, but you've still got Blue Ninja androids, and you've got this kind of weird thing that happens towards the end of this run, and of course, obviously it was sad because I don't want to spoil anything, but a certain character does die, and it just is the most bonkers like story ever because he had to pivot and change things. But I know what you mean though. There's like a really nice real world military aspect, like they're kind of doing things as you'd expect them to do. And I love the fact there are so many characters in this one.
Well, it felt pretty cozy because I was like, oh, okay, it's all the legacy characters. I don't know why I was expecting anything different. But
Larry's only got about 7 different stories to tell, and you've probably heard all of them already. Hey, Cobra's back in the pit.
Yeah, potentially I just thought this could be something that I wouldn't understand, or there could be loads of people. I was like, oh no, okay, I'm up to speed, you know, pretty quickly.
Had you read everything in between?
I was just going to say, you saying you thought it might be a bit zany, Ben. Well, like Chris mentioned, we had the Blue Ninjas and lots of brainwave scanner stuff, which is kind of always on the wacky side. But then we have, just prior to this arc, there were a couple of arcs which were quite political heavy and quite brutal and heavy storytelling with the potential Lady J execution in that village from Major Blood, and then the hostage situation in Sierra Gordo, which was quite politicised. And I don't know, I think Larry was trying to mix it up a little bit, and then obviously with this kind of anniversary issue is get it back onto not a level playing field, that's the wrong term, but, you know, like you said, Ben, a simple enough story that can act as a milestone issue that pretty much anyone who's ever read G.I. Joe is going to understand the basics of.
Exactly.
Cobra invades the pit, which we've seen multiple times before.
Yeah, it felt like a bit of a greatest hits to me, you know?
Yeah, big time.
Chief, say nothing about the fact that Larry took the step to, like, introduce the Red Shadows and that whole mythology.
My goodness,
like a few issues back.
That.
Yes, of course.
Ah.
Yeah, Black Major. Yeah.
I also really enjoyed the levity, and I laughed a lot during this issue. I thought there was loads of good bants and funny stuff going on. Like the fact that they rewire all of the bombs, and then Cobra Commander just hits the button and all his own tank starts exploding is incredible.
When did that actually happen, though? Because
here, at this point now,
right,
three pages in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's when Snake Eyes goes out and does it all. Yeah. As always,
you miss it.
Read the issue about an hour ago, forgotten it already.
There you go.
So basically, Scarlet says to Timber 3, that she says like, "Oh, good job, we've got someone that can sniff these out," and he's like, "Snarf." So then it's insinuated that, you know, from that moment on, Snake Eyes is a busy boy.
Right. Yes.
But guys, I mean, this wolf was feral like a week ago. It was a wild animal pouncing on Snake Eyes and Scarlet, and here it's effectively a sniffer dog. I mean, like,
yeah, but
wow.
Snake Eyes applied the ARAH mindset on it. That's how it's
okay.
I don't know if you did that. I just made that up.
No, I buy it.
Very quickly, want to give a shout out to the creative team. Obviously, Larry writing, S.L. Gallant on art. new inker. We've been seeing Brian Shearer and Gary Erskine inking, but now we've actually got Juan Castro and Mark Deering on inks and Jay Brown on colours. And I thought the art was great, but I could kind of notice the difference in inking from previous issues we'd seen. I'm not saying it's bad, but just noticeably a little bit different. But
remind me to, when we get to it, there's literally one panel that looks nothing like the rest of the issue.
Yeah, I think I might know the one.
Oh, which one's that?
It's okay. I'll just say it. It's when Duke spins his head round and it's saying awooga in the background.
Yes,
it just looks like a completely different style.
It's a bit more cartoony, isn't it?
Panel,
yeah.
like just it's almost like one of those. I'm not sure if you read the Jurassic Park comics when they did them ages ago, like the late 90s.
Oh,
they were really, really shit. Like,
damn.
Honestly, it's not even worth it. I actually purchased them on the Comixology or something, and whatever it was, I purchased them on, and they are so poor. But the art is very much like that. It just reminded me when I looked at Duke, I'm like, oh god, am I reading a Jurassic Park comic I hated? Anyway,
I do want to pick you specifically, S-Jubs and Diagnostic, page 4 and 5 splash. Lots of vehicles here. Fantastic looking page, but me not being a toy expert, how accurate do these vehicles look to you boys' eyes?
Pretty accurate. The HISS tanks are always drawn a little bit bigger than they actually the toys are, but they've kind of got them pretty good here because you can see the gunner in the gunner positions, and I think Cobra Commander's regular HISS is a little bit large, but that's kind of almost done on purpose. So it's like his
command vehicle.
Yeah.
It's a HISS too, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Yeah.
He's a HISS 2. You've got the blue kind of HISS, the first version or the first style, and then you've got like the modern guys in the background. There's kind of like stand-up kind of Pursuit of Cobra bad boys. You've got maggots, you've got trouble bubbles, ferret, you've got all sorts going on there. It's great. Vipers, Cobra Troopers, a Tele Viper. It's amazing.
So the classic maggot sticker sheet had that maggot numbered as maggot number 5. What's cool about the double splash is they haven't gone with that number. They've numbered it 4. And then the one that Mindbender's using to put stretcher beds into, that one's 5. It's cool little details like that really make me happy. I mean, like, obviously, you're not going to have an entire army of maggots that all are numbered like the toy,
Yeah, totally.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
On the flip side, you've also got the Mauler rocks up for the Joes, doesn't it? And that just makes me think, Chief, when I was, I think my 8th birthday, I bought that off you for £10.
Right.
And
who robbed who? I'm not sure.
Brilliant.
Your sales pitch was, you're like, this is great to my mum, because she was going to pay you. It's got 2 speeds. So, like, fast speed is really good, but if you want to go over some really difficult terrain, you've got to switch it to slow speed.
Right. Sales pitch worked, obviously.
Yeah, what a toy that was.
Stephen,
it was awesome.
That's your favourite vehicle.
Yeah,
right?
Ben, I'd say you won, dude. 10 quid for the Mauler.
Yeah, that's a steal.
It's a classic and beautifully presented in this artwork. I mean, like, all the details are bang on, I must say.
The only thing they get wrong in this, though, is the fact that long range and zap are the wrong way around.
So basically, every episode that we record, I will miss all the details, and S-Jubs will say, look, he's called him the wrong name, blah, 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 he's done that wrong, and I pick up on nothing of it. And I actually messaged him offline prior to recording saying, I've actually found one, I've actually spotted one, and it was that exact same one, the long range zap, where
happens twice as well.
Yeah, where is that? I'm just finding out.
They're riding the Mauler, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, top of the page.
Zap,
and
who's coloured like thunder, who is dead, is on top of the turret, and long range is, they
just see his
the
head
names,
poking out. Yeah.
Funnily enough, in the most recent issue, long range got misnamed as well, which is hilarious. It's like full circle. It's like Larry. Well, it's not even Larry. It's like whoever's on the
editor.
Yeah, they just don't know what long range looks like.
Do these guys not have like a story group? I guess it's not that big.
No.
No, yeah.
What, the creative team, you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, fact checking.
Larry is the story group.
No, I guess this book's selling about, 8,000 copies a month or something like that. So
That's a stretch, actually, but yeah.
I'm a bit of a stickler on typos. It seems Scarlett forgets how to spell Psychout's codename. She drops the E.
Sick out, she calls him.
Oh, Psychout's awesome, man. I've got him Tiger Force.
Oh, whoa! That's a pretty exclusive figure. I mean, not exclusive.
I guess
in the
was
UK,
that just that was just a Europe.
Yeah. I have 3 of those, Steve.
Nice with his white boots.
Yeah.
Him and Lifeline.
Tiger Force was great, man.
Then there's a canonical misspelling of Trouble Bubble. Like, on the box of the toy, it's spelled Trubble.
Yeah.
I always thought that was quite quaint, but it seems like they've dropped it.
Fucked it, yeah.
They just spelled Trouble conventionally.
I feel like they were hard to find over here. Never had one.
I think it's just like luck of the draw, honestly, mate, because where I was, Trouble Bubbles, they
really?
were everywhere. I managed to get one when I was a kid.
Peg warmers.
I must point out this, though. Lightfoot's in it very, very minimally, but I love the fact
Is
they
he?
mention
What,
him.
in this issue?
Yeah. Stalker's like telling Tunnel Rat, Tripwire, and Lightfoot to kind of, do all of the, because they're like a team of bomb disposal gangsters.
I see him now.
Yeah.
Backshot. Yeah, there he is.
All over his back.
Listen, again, I'm confused, as always. Why is Cobra doing a mass exit from the pit? I know they're saying that they've rigged all the G.I. Joe vehicles and armoury, but I don't understand why they went there in the first place and now they're suddenly leaving.
I think you just got to take the leap, Chief, on this one.
The leap for what, though? What?
They're scared of Snake Eyes, man. They're scared of the amoebas in the drinking water. Because to fill you guys in, G.I. Joe has been conducting terror tactics on Cobra while they've been at the pit. They've basically been shitting in the drinking water.
Sweet.
That'll do it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Is there? Am I just supposed to go with it, or does someone want to posit some reasoning?
They're just getting out of Dodge before Joe get there because they've been battling a very small force of Joes initially, which is something they can do. But when the entire team return, they're going to be, that's going to be like a dangerous situation for them. So they do the bait and switch.
But surely they thought that team was going to turn up at some point anyway.
Chief, I crunched the numbers for you, man, if you're interested to know. I kind of tallied up all the personnel that could possibly have been in that big double splash.
Yes.
It's about 95 Cobras manning those vehicles and sort of marching alongside and manning the trouble bubbles and stuff.
Okay, so we had suggested on the last episode that maybe 1,000 Cobra Troopers, but clearly a tenth of that.
Far less than that, yeah. And Mindbender said that 30 had deserted, 100 or more were in the infirmary, and 7 had been abducted. So Cobra only really had like 250 guys to begin with.
Right, okay,
So
much smaller force than I thought originally then, yeah.
But when you consider that G.I. Joe at this point has about 70 members in its personnel roster...
Well, but I know you because you tried counting all the Joes that we'd seen in this run.
Tried?
Did 65 is what you counted. But they do mention in this issue that someone says we've called up Joes who are on other assignments, which could suggest...
Cover Girl just steps out of the wings along with a few others. Yeah, nice.
Mindbender's been mentioned. I do like that panel where he's treating the wounded and he's got Novocaine. This Novocaine is especially effective if your injuries are anywhere near your teeth. Brilliant.
Yeah, the guy just asked for an ibuprofen.
Yeah.
This is funny, man.
I love the fact that Toxo Viper's like helping out with all of the meds.
Toxo Viper, love
I'm not a fucking leaky suit brigade anywhere near the meds.
What's going on with his helmet, though?
Yeah, that's not a design I'm familiar with.
Yeah, no, I'm staring at him in the cabinet right now, and he doesn't look like that. But anyway.
I don't think anyone's familiar with that design.
No.
Clearly the artist wasn't familiar with that.
I like that. I like the fact that it sounds like they're just winging it on this book, which is great. I love it. They don't seem to care about getting stuff wrong, and they're just doing it. 8,000 copies a month, be damned.
Mate, you've got a lot more mistakes happen in the next couple of years on this run, I'll tell you that much.
Print it. Just go. Send it.
More directed at Ben, I guess, because he probably hasn't seen it much. Thoughts on Cobra Commander's spanking new battle armour?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, so basically that is not him. He is not in that, is he, in this issue when he's scrapping?
Blue Ninja.
Because that was another funny bit when the trooper dude just shoots him. He's like, sorry.
Yeah.
He nails him.
Yeah. I did think it was going to go the way of, because we've seen this happen quite a lot, when Jane and Joe Colton show up. Normally that means you're going to get the super death ray laser that can solve any problem cannon, but it's quite nice that they show up and they say, oh no, actually we can't use that now, we've got to get a direct line from the president to be able to use it. So I thought that was
too trigger happy.
Yeah, I thought that was going to solve all the problems, but it was nice that they swerved it.
Yeah, take that out of the equation in a sense. Just kind of circling back on your Cobra Commander battle armor, he looks very much like the other IDW incarnation of Crake as Cobra Commander.
Yeah, you're right. He does.
I always thought that was quite weird.
From
that they went with
the
that.
separate IDW continuity they did, but he does. Yeah, very much so. And then I think we've seen sort of Chuckles as well, haven't we? We saw Chuckles when he appeared in this book was very much the persona of that other continuity's version of Chuckles. So
yeah.
Larry famously, I think, has said he doesn't read anyone else's G.I. Joe books, but
it could be that the artist is just taking inspiration from what they have at hand, because Larry does, he gives them the script and then they go nuts with it effectively.
Yeah. I thought this armor took some stylings from the Sigma 6 design.
I was going to say Sigma 6 too, actually. But yeah, it's big vibes, man.
And question for Chief and quite possibly Chris as well. Does this make Cobra Commander's showdown with BN-001, the leader of the Blue Ninjas, do you now assume that was actually his robot double and not actually Cobra Commander? Because he does some pretty ballsy things in that one-on-one with the Blue Ninja leader.
I don't think they had acquired the tech at that point, had they? Or not?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Because this is unveiled within this suit is the Blue Ninja Bat kind of hybrid.
Revanche.
But, I mean, Chief, at the time, you were like, how is this congruous with Cobra Commander's character to throw himself in front of, like, an RPG?
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
to save ostensibly Snake Eyes, Baroness, and Storm Shadow. People that Cobra Commander shouldn't actually give a shit about.
Oh, you're no prizing it.
You'd do better without them in the way, in actual fact, yeah.
Eat that!
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, let's not bring up the past, shall we?
Is this Cobra Commander... Well, it's not Cobra Commander, but the faux Cobra Commander versus Duke. This is the first time they've physically tangled since issue 24, maybe? When they capture the Commander. I know this isn't Cobra Commander, but the first, time someone posing as Cobra Commander has faced off Duke fist to fist, I think, in 170
possibly,
issues.
because Cobra Commander doesn't necessarily always have, he doesn't have a lot of fist fights with G.I. Joe characters.
True, yeah.
You see, because I was coming into this, reading this, I was thinking, this is kind of like what your average issue is like. We're getting lots of this, but no, you're not getting that at all, by the sounds of it.
Well, they pack a lot of characters in every issue. I'll give him that. It's always... And that's why we get so many mistakes, I think, because he tries to cram in as many characters as he possibly can, pretty much on the regular.
Did IDW ever flirt with bringing back Serpentor or stuff like that?
Yeah.
They did?
Hang on, let me think. Has Serpentor been in it since?
This run up to 200, not yet. He's been sort of bandied about. I mean, they've definitely dropped his name, and it's been quickly shut down.
Oh, they have dropped his name?
They said he's packed on ice, didn't they, at one point?
I'm trying to think if he's cropped up since in the run up to now, though. I can't even think. I'm having such a brain fart there. Probably not, in actual fact.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, viewers.
But this is for Ben, Larry has brought characters back from the dead inadvertently. So, for example...
Oh, my God, October Guard.
Crazy Legs, I was thinking. Crazy Legs is...
Yeah.
Sneak Peek was probably
not
the first major one.
That was the worst
He then had to seriously kind of double back and retcon.
So, do you remember, this is for Ben, do you remember the issue in Benzine where all the Joes died, like Battle Force 2000 and all that? And there was a scene where Dusty and Sneak Peek behind some cars in a courtyard, and I think, is it a mother and a kid or something like that? Civilians trying to run to freedom. Sneak Peek goes out to try and save the kid and gets gunned down by Vipers, and Dusty carries his dead body, back to base camp, and Sneak Peek is then dead. And they kind of preface that with a flashback scene where Dusty was at Sneak Peek's at the holiday season, Thanksgiving, having turkey dinner or whatever, and he met his parents. So Sneak Peek dead, but then Sneak Peek suddenly appeared in some of these IDW issues, and so then Larry had to kind of backtrack and write some story,
deep cover story
to kind of explain why he wasn't dead, because I think it was an accident by Larry, wasn't it? It wasn't part of the...
It was a mistake. Sneak Peek was also killed in another IDW ongoing continuity, completely separate from A Real American Hero.
Really?
I feel really bad for the guy. He's always first on the chopping block.
Yeah.
So what we've seen here, are these pretty much the main players at the moment?
It's every player at the moment, by the looks of things.
The Dreadnoks have had a good look in from this period of Larry's writing, I think, but obviously not in this issues. But, Road Pigs come back,
right.
Zorana's in the action, Zartan's around.
Surely when they started this, they must have thought, okay, give people what they want, yeah? That's the goal, isn't it, with this kind of relaunch? So they're not going to dick about. They're just going to go back to the core characters that people love, I guess.
I think they not quickly, but they're going to cede to Larry. Larry's the writer. There's probably not going to be a real American hero book if Larry's not writing it. So they have to kind of toe the line with what he wants to do to a certain degree. But I guess he's been flexible in the past about including stuff that he didn't want to, more so at Marvel when it was a big selling book and he kind of had to agree to the Hasbro and the marketing people what to include. I guess he's got a lot more freedom, if not complete freedom on this book.
But what I'm saying is, back in the day, every issue you're obviously getting new characters and stuff. It isn't like that in this run, is what you're saying.
Well, that would all have been tied to
That's what I mean, it's tied to toys, yeah. So maybe from his point of view, this must be just so much fun.
Yeah.
Because he's not having to shoehorn in, I don't know, a toxic sludge viper man that, glows when you put him in warm water.
Do you remember when he just dropped the cyber viper in randomly?
Yeah. Yeah, that was in the 150s or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh man, the vipers were out of control. I was having to buy all of those jokers. It was a nightmare. It was so daunting. I remember so clearly being at McDonald's in 1990, and they just released a new season of toys, and I actually started crying because I'd only just finished the one before. And I was like, oh my god, Mum, I'm gonna have to buy all of these.
What a problem to have.
Anyway,
we got some good toy talk coming towards the end of the show.
Lies,
we're all going to reminisce about collecting, and
he's talking bullshit. Don't listen to him.
What do you think about this blueprint where Jane's punched
dope.
it up on the map, and it's got the ramp to the Y-wing fighter launch module, which is quite cool.
Can I just say one thing before we go any further? I've noticed in here, Joe Colton, he mentions, it's one of those things where, when they mention the name of the movie in the movie.
Yeah.
It was that moment, and I'm like, oh, cool. He says, priority is to get the Joe armor up and rolling to mount a Pursuit of Cobra. And obviously Pursuit of Cobra was the toy line following Rise of Cobra. And I just wanted to mention that because I read that and got all giddy that he mentioned the movie inside the movie. But anyway, carry on. Yes, you're right. We're at the cool display of that base.
I really like my two favourite bits are, like we said, the Y-wing launch. Is that a thing? Am I off base here? Or
Pun intended.
I'm missing a point that a Y-wing fighter is something in the Joe universe, or is it not?
I couldn't fucking tell you. I think it might just be a jokey little thing that Larry's put in, maybe a Star Wars reference.
Much like the ninja exit near the bottom.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Only ninjas may pass. Look, Chief, the only analog I can think of is the Skystorm X-Wing chopper, which was a dual-purpose helicopter that converts to a jet, and it was called the X-Wing. But I just, this is, I don't know. I don't know what Y-Wing refers to. Is that a three-bladed X-Wing chopper?
So a Y-Wing is just a broken one of those, is what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah. I
love the fact that in the team that are watching this, kind of the audience of Joes that are kind of going through this PowerPoint presentation, in the background you can see they've done silhouettes of Tollbooth with his massive hammer, Sergeant Slaughter clearly, and I'm guessing Snake Eyes in there is they're little silhouettes that you can see lit up. I just think it's a lovely touch. Yeah,
that's quite cool.
Or is it Sergeant Slammer?
Oh, it's definitely Slammer. They can't use Slaughter now. That's owned by someone else.
Well, it makes me wonder, why couldn't they then use the likeness? If they called it Sergeant Slammer.
They had issues with the likeness, I think, as well, because he would crop up off panel all the time in these comics. There's one where his reflection from the sunlight is on the ground, and that's all you get. That's all you get from him, but you can see the reflection of him. But yeah, it's like they obviously have issues with WWE, and now they're going to have issues with Action Force.
Well, they don't have the rights to use his likeness anymore.
Well, they didn't have it after the cartoon, because his likeness was tied up with WWE and then with other his own kind of, you know.
I always
IP.
remember in the movie, I thought it was like dubbed, as in the UK we got Slammer, and in the US we got
correct,
Slaughter.
Yeah. That was correct.
Yeah.
Chris knows all about them redubs.
Man. We've been doing live watch-along streams of all the cartoons.
Yeah, I've seen them. They're good. They're really good.
Chris, do you think that Beachhead says
No,
shit?
I don't
pathetic.
No, I think he says pathetic, which is
we discussed this
Me and
once.
Chief were desperate for him to say shit.
This is a bit of a Groundhog Day discussion, I think, because the last time the three of you were all on a podcast, you had this talk as well.
Yeah.
Oh no, man, it's the rose.
And I was adamant. I was like, hell no, they don't say naughty words.
I'll tell you who's going to be happy here, and that is S-Jubs, because there's a moment where Joe talks about Hawk, and he says General Abernathy, and he doesn't say General Hawk, because listeners of the show will know that S-Jubs does not like any references to rank and codename. So General Hawk is a big no-no.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And he calls him General Abernathy, which is I knew would please S-Jubs.
Pet peeve. Well, I think they do call Falcon Lieutenant Falcon in the beginning, so you know it's a trade-off.
Yep.
It's swings and roundabouts, mate.
But his surname is Falcone, yeah, with an E on the end.
Yes. Okay. You want to pick on that thread? Yeah. Ironically, Vincent Falcone.
So they should be calling him Lieutenant Falcone. They shouldn't be calling him Lieutenant Falcon.
It makes me think of Don Johnson doing the voice.
Well, Falcon's is code name, isn't it?
Don't mix rank with code name.
Yeah, I demand that there be an Out of Timers episode devoted to G.I. Joe the movie. Come on, Ben, make it happen.
Yeah,
baby.
man, I love it. I don't think Chief's a big fan.
Well, I don't care.
No, I'm not saying I'm not a big fan. I haven't seen it for like 30 years.
Chief, we gave one of our mates, we used to call him B.A.T, the broadcast energy transmitter. Remember that?
Yeah, we had a mate.
Such a good nickname.
We had a mate called Brett, and we just redubbed him to B.E.T, and it wasn't broadcast energy transmitter.
Did he cover everyone in a golden glow?
It was just B.E.T.
The B.E.T.
It should have been the B.R.E.T, surely.
That was partially because I used to call people, spell their names out. So I used to call your brother G-A-V. Instead of saying Gav, I would spell his name out, and then your cousin R-O-D, I would just spell people's names.
God, and then when the hell did Chiefy Two Shoes 4 pairs or 8 pairs rubber nipples come from?
Who knows?
Was that just something that came out of Ben or Gav, or who came up with that?
Yeah, these clowns did. Him and his brother came up with that. No idea.
Origin unknown.
One thing, I think we've pretty much covered this issue, or we can pick out a few other bits. But one thing that I did kind of question was Mindbender and Cobra Commander having a chat, and Cobra Commander ends up by saying, "I'll have none of that. Now is the time to press forward. I already have a new plan." And I'm just thinking, wait a minute, you've just been ran roughshod over by 5 Joes with tail between your legs, and now's the time to press forward. So this guy just doesn't stop.
Larry settled into his sort of cartoon plan of the week scheme kind of writing.
And of course he ends it out with, "There will be blood."
Ooh.
Yeah. There's already been blood when Snake Eyes was hacking up his Cobra troopers and slashing their Achilles heels.
Big time.
Oh, that's bad, isn't it? Jesus.
Yeah, that was the previous issue, I think, where it's all silhouetted. And Snake Eyes is... And actually...
I don't like anything to do with slashing of the Achilles heel.
Okay.
Just a couple of movies as a kid that stuck with me. Oh.
And now I see what you were talking about, Diagnostic, on that last panel of the last page, where they've opened this locked blast door. Open the blast doors. Open the blast doors. And he's like, oh my, not what I expected. Not by a long shot. And then
what's back there? Ultra Magnus or something?
Yeah, well. Are you going to read issue 201? No. So
well, I'm definitely going to have to find out after this. I'm Googling the heck out of that. You trying to tell me there's a massive transformer there?
No.
That's wild.
No, yes and no.
Yeah.
Or is it a Y-Wing?
It's terrible. I wish it was a
ultimate crossover.
I wish it was a Y-Wing.
It's the Death Star.
What's you boys' thoughts overall then on this issue? And I'm not sure when the last time you read this kind of arc, Diagnostic, but this whole invading the pit kind of thing.
Bored.
Yeah. seen it before.
I must admit, like I'd get to the point where I'm sick of the brainwave scanner. So that's one thing that always annoys me when it appears, and it's back once again for the Renegade Master in the new series. And now we're looking at yet another pit invasion, which again has happened recently as well.
Yeah.
And I just I just wish we could move on and do something else. But don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it, and there are elements I really enjoy. But most of them are like these little bits and pieces that dropped in and around there, like the Sergeant Slaughter silhouette, and the fact that Joe Colton says Pursuit of Cobra, and the fact that you've got loads of vehicles and characters and stuff popping up, and Lightfoot, and that I really enjoy, and I love seeing how. And I love the art, but most of the time I just kind of gloss over it. Like you're kind of saying, why is Cobra doing this and why is Cobra doing that? I've lost the will to live in trying to understand why they're doing what they're doing. So I just let it breeze over me like a wet mist.
Jeez, that was good.
So potentially, Ben, you got more out of it than Diagnostic.
No, but I can completely see where he's coming from. I mean, I'm just coming in reading this one issue, but I'm immediately thinking, okay, it makes sense to do this for maybe 5 or 10 issues, but then I think you have to do something new and exciting. And like, can you just lean into nostalgia with this IP? What do you do with it? I don't know. I feel like it leads on to a much bigger conversation about G.I. Joe and what they should do with it. Is it good that Harmer's writing it? I guess it is it, from your point of view, Chief? It's coming from the same place, isn't it? The same lens.
Well, for me personally, I think this is a fairly unspectacular milestone 200th issue. I think if you had gone back and read the previous, some stuff around the late 180s into the early 190s, only 6 months prior, you'd have got some really good, like the guys mentioned, the 2-issue story arc where they bring in the Mouton and Black Major and the Red Shadows at sea. It's a fantastic two-parter. Then there's the one where Lady J and Lowlight, they're on the assassination mission in wherever that was, and there's this really, really bad guy called Generalissimo Tep. That's a fantastic, tense two-parter, and Chuckles has to go on a rescue mission. So they were almost felt like special missions. I know Chris has a big leaning towards special missions.
Love it, yes.
And they felt like that. And this issue, I don't think, as your reintroduction to it, it's easy to assess that, this is just kind of treading the same water that I've seen before. So I don't know. I think probably strayed away from the point of whether Larry being on it is a good thing or not. I've got up to the recent issue, whatever it is, 270 or 271, but I haven't read. I only read up to like 230. So Chris obviously reads and reviews them on Full Force every month. So he's better placed to say whether is Larry in his current guise treading water, or is he still coming up with new things?
It's hard to say because I've been having like I don't know, I've been on like a 3 potatoes out of 5 kind of rating system for a long kind of extended period of time. Then the odd issue will pop up and it'll be like really good, but like currently we're in this thing called Snake Hunt, and I have to say that very carefully and separate the words because my goodness, they did not think that one through, did they?
No.
Or maybe they did and they just thought it was hilarious. But anyway, snake vaginas aside, the story is like, it's a 10-parter, but I feel like there's a story in there that they've stretched out. And rather than like 10 issues to me isn't very much. I think you could you could pack a lot into 10 issues, make it very, moving fast and things happening. But it seems like there'll be like 3 issues they dedicate to the build-up to the 4th issue. Then the 4th issue happens and you're like, oh, amazing. And then you just go back to this like very slow build-up again. And I think you've only got 10 issues to tell this story. You don't really want to be spending 6-7 issues of that just building up to an issue. So I've been having issues with that recently.
I think it's going to end. It's going to end on issue 275, which is, it's not even a 50 or 100, but they'll still class that 275 as some kind of anniversary milestone number, I guess.
Why is it going to end? Sorry, Chief.
No, that story arc. It's a 10-part story arc that finishes on issue.
Sorry, I thought you meant the whole thing was shutting down.
No.
Almost did.
COVID-19.
In the
Always
back,
COVID.
in the back of
That's
this
the reason.
issue that we've just looked at, 200, they actually bring back Postbox to the pit, and although it has been throughout the IDW run, but there is a letter here by. I think a couple of you guys here will know, so I'll just read out the letter. Dear Larry, having had the honour of meeting you, I'm sure you'll humbly shake off all of this praise, but I can think of no creator in any other medium whose work has brought me more entertainment. The Josaic you've created will never be forgotten. And I've got to say thank you. Thanks for 200 plus issues of great characters, stories, dialogue, military insight, humour, and all the subtle touches that make every issue a joy to read. Thanks for the way you've always managed to combine realism with over-the-top, some might say crazy, concepts, never forgetting that comics should be fun. Thanks for not talking down to your readers, whether they're a 7-year-old whose most prized possessions in the world are a Recondo action figure, and I'd love a Recondo, and a copy of G.I. Joe 38, or a 30-something who spends his free time making rap songs about ninjas. Thank you for returning to this book, and thank you to IDW for making it happen. I hope to see it continue for years to come. Yo, Joe, Sean, Word Burglar Jordan. Now, obviously, you're good friends with Word Burglar.
Yes. Very, very good friends with Sean J. Berg.
Yeah.
He obviously is famous for Welcome to Cobra Island, many amazing rap albums as well. On top of that, Rapplicable Skills, Third Burglar, friggin' Rhyme Your Business. He's done like amazing stuff. And, Welcome to Cobra Island was my introduction to Word Burglar, and that was roughly around the same time that we started the Full Force podcast. Man, that's been a long fucking time.
Really?
And I remember because I was working on an album myself, and I remember he dropped that album, and I was like, you bastard, because I was doing the same thing. I was like working on like Action Force and G.I. Joe related kind of subject matter, and I had all these beats and everything that I'd already made, and I remember he dropped that album. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. But then obviously loved it. It was amazing. And instead of releasing an album, we used the music for the podcast. And obviously it made the podcast a little bit more interesting and more fun and so on and so forth. So it kind of worked out in the end. And funnily enough, it worked out to such a degree that after meeting him at a number of conventions and chatting away and having him on the show a couple of times and interviewing him, we got really close, and now we work together, and he often utilizes a lot of the work I've done musically, and
Wicked.
we collaborated recently on an amazing Spaceverse album, which is, if you haven't listened to it, guys, it is amazing. It's chock full of some incredible tracks based on Star Wars, and there's a Visionaries track that I produced for him on there, which is just like probably my favorite thing I've ever done in life. My favorite accomplishment is making that beat and him rapping on it. It is Visionaries related, which like I cannot tell you now how much that makes me smile. That one of the most obscure, not to like us, I know it wasn't an obscure reference to us, but like to a lot of people it is no one really knows what it is, and it's this amazing future Knights, but gone back in time at the same time, magic kind of, franchise, and it's brilliant. And the fact that I managed to make a beat from some of the music in that show and he's used it just blew me away. So Transformers on there, some just amazing tracks. So check that out.
Is it out, buddy?
Yeah, it's out. It's out on.
Oh, amazing!
Just search Word Burglar Spaceverse, one word.
Crikey, it sounds so up my street. It's not even funny,
mate. You'll love it. Transformers.
The second best thing you've ever done is the Snack Attackers jingle.
Snack Attacker. True, actually, that for a while that was leading the way, but then I did this Visionaries track.
No, I'm gonna check that out.
Which is called Spectral Mike, which is just genius because it's the Spectral Knights they were called in
Wicked.
Visionaries.
Cool, checking that out. Cool. I think that about wraps up our comic talk. We'll be talking toys in a minute, but have we got time for some colloquialisms?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's overegg that pudding. We got a pudding. We got a pudding. We're gonna overegg that pudding. Ain't got no criticisms. We got some Commonwealth colloquialisms. Who wants to confuse people first? S-Jubs, you normally have two because you have to do a South African and an Australian.
Oh, brilliant.
Greedy son of a bitch.
I've heard that.
You go first, then me and Diagnostic will be the meat filling. And
I've got one that you always
he's got
say.
one. Oh, fine. We got five. So S-Jubs, kick us off with a South African.
South African? You want the South African first?
Yeah.
All right, in that case, this is the same meaning, but it has two different words. The first word is myth, and the other word is sif. What do you suppose those words mean? I'll use it in a sentence. Oh, dude, those chicks are so sif.
Sif.
I'm just going to say fit or hot.
Okay. And if I was to use the other one in the sentence, I'm feeling myth.
I'm going to say gross.
Correctamundo. Yeah.
Only because you hesitated on what Chief said, so I just went with the opposite.
Oh, poker face. You're reading the other player. Yeah, no. Myth or sif means gross or disgusting.
Amazing.
S-Jubs, when you're younger and you would have been trying to chat up a girl in South Africa, would you say I'm tuning? Is that a thing?
Damn it! You've just given away another colloquialism I could have tripped cheap up.
It's like people always they're like, oh Ben, you're tuning that girl. You're tuning. I'm like, what the heck is tuning?
Is it is in reference to guiar tuning?
You're dialing in your FM radio,
Oh,
man.
I
You're
see.
getting on the same frequency. Is that it?
I see.
You're twisting her knob.
Jeez.
You're fiddling with her buttons.
I don't want her to have a knob.
That'd be a British colloquialism. Yeah, tuning. I guess it just means like chatting up.
That's true. I wouldn't care.
Okay. Like it.
That's really true. I wouldn't really care. Cool.
Okay, Ben, you said you had one, so far away.
No, you keep saying it. When you like something, Chief, or you're feeling good, you're always saying, yeah, that buzzes my berries.
Right.
And I'm always like, does he mean his balls? I don't know what that means.
Ben, you've said that pumps my nads. So I guess it's the same thing, isn't
I
it?
do mean my balls.
Yeah, baby.
That buzzes my berries. I guess it is the same as pumping your nads.
That tweaks my
God,
tackle.
what a life.
Tweaking, yeah.
Tweaking my tackle.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
Diagnostic, what you got for us?
My one is what I've used. I use it all the time and forgot it's really kind of a British colloquialism, or at least it's one that I heard a lot growing up, and that is the term 2/3 of fuck all, which basically means nothing.
I like that.
And I use it all the time, and I always get funny looks out here, like what? Like they have to work, like it's a math equation they have to work out.
They're
I'm
like, why don't
no.
you just say nothing? Well, because it's more fun to say.
It's
2/3
funny
of
to
fuck all.
go around the houses,
Yeah,
which is
exactly,
another one
Exactly.
about buses.
That's a statement on the American education system.
Exactly.
Anything multiplied by 0 is still fuck all. You know?
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay, my one is I think originated in Ireland, and then UK and Commonwealth. So we'll all know this piece of piss. No one's going to have to guess it here, but it might confuse some non-Commonwealth countries.
Was it piece of piss?
There's more to Ireland than this.
And this is the phrase "Bob's your uncle."
You have used that on the
Did
show
I?
before.
Okay.
Yes, because we discussed the whole Bob's your
Diagnostic
uncle.
never forgets, baby.
I never forget. I'm like an elephant.
Okay, Bob's
it
your
was
uncle and Fanny's your aunt.
Fanny's your aunt. Yeah, we had a whole conversation
Did
about
we?
it.
Okay, there you go.
Get another one now. You got 2 seconds.
All right, S-Jubs, give us your Australian one.
Fanny, damn it, man. Why can't America just stop calling it a fanny pack, please?
It's a bum bag.
A vagina bag. Anyways, the Australian
Snake cunt.
term that I have for y'alls today is bogan.
Bogan?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a chav or a townie.
Yeah, those are British colloquialisms. Give me some more terms. A chav? What is a chav, Ben?
Oh, yeah,
Chavs are nar, mate. We used to call them nar mates. But
So you still got me
bogan.
guessing, man.
bogans.
Yeah, like a country bumpkin or a hick.
Yeah.
No?
I feel like would that be like white trash in America? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I guess so.
Basically,
I mean, I'm in Queensland, and famously, like, bogans are from around here. Like, this is the bogan state.
yeah.
No offense to anyone who is listening to this who's from Queensland.
That non-taken,
Yeah.
I guarantee. It's basically that their entire behaviour is like unrefined or unsophisticated. So you're a snob for calling someone a bogan, basically.
So quick question for Diagnostic and Ben. What's the difference between a chav and a pikey?
Nothing necessarily.
Well, a pikey, I guess, is more of a like a gypsy
Yeah.
reference, isn't it? I suppose.
Right.
I mean, it's all pretty
Traveller.
pretty rough. Yeah, traveller.
Okay.
Hey man, I was at the beach the other day and a bunch of pikeys like got in my car. They're like, it was full snatch. They were Irish too. They were like, hey, that's a nice car, mister. They're like, how much is that car, mister? And I was like, shit, they're in the car.
Were you in it?
I was in it.
You were in it and they got in the car?
Yeah, because it's got the big doors go up, and
Yeah.
like they were just like, I looked back and I saw Indy sitting there.
My goodness.
And there was this little gypsy kid in there.
How'd you get them out?
Jeez. And then the big guy came over.
Oh, shit.
Like he was in charge of like 15 of them, and he was like, "How much your car cost, mister?" He was like, "Oh, God bless you, son. God bless you." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And then I went and parked it down the street, and then I went for a run, and I saw them all near it. I was like, "Oh God, get off my Tesla, mate."
Jeez. Guys, give me 30 seconds. I just want to see my wife off. She's about to leave for work.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
that's
29.
He does quick work.
28, 27, 26, 25, 24. Finished.
Yeah.
That's a new world record. He's got to spend the rest of the time cleaning that up.
Yeah,
That's
right.
probably what it, yeah.
Give him another 30 seconds.
What? It's like early doors over there. Jeez, he's dedicated.
It's nice being back on again.
Yeah, it's wicked. It's wicked.
I'm back.
So when you said you had to go and see your wife off and it was going to take you 30 seconds to do it, you worked
I
quick.
set my stopwatch.
Yeah.
No, she pushed me off. She was like, okay, bye. We play Streets of Rage tonight?
Is that what she said?
Yeah, you do.
Nice.
You should do that.
Nice.
You bastards. Out of Timers was the straw that broke the camel's back. Streets of Rage 4 is now in the Steam collection.
Nice.
Even
There you
though
go.
I
you
got that
said
game.
you said to me when I said you got to play Streets of Rage 4, you said, "No, man, it's not a retro game. I'm not playing that."
No, but I knew that couldn't be right. It didn't feel right. There was a disturbance in the force. I was like, that doesn't sound like something he would say. I thought maybe you hadn't seen the trailer, or I mean, you got to get the game just for the soundtrack, haven't you? It's insane.
I kind of wish they had remastered and rearranged the original tracks. Like, I'm dying for
Is
like
there
a
not
few
some of that
more.
in there?
I think so. I haven't gotten to it yet. But
I
I'm just
spoke
like,
to the dude,
oh,
and
man.
he's let me use the track for this video I'm making.
Nice.
I'm well
Excellent.
chuffed.
Good.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet though. I'm so pumped for it though. It looks fantastic.
But your missus, Dr. Kim, is banging to Streets of Rage.
Dude, I couldn't hold her back. I mean,
Dude,
I
you've
was
got
like,
to keep her there then. That's a keeper. Because
she was like, we
that
need
is
to get
awesome.
Streets of Rage. And I was like, okay, honey, we're running your credit card, thanks. I mean, it's cheap, but, you know, it's the principle.
Okay,
of the
so
thing.
how are you playing it? Streets of Rage?
It's two-player on
Split
the...
through-
I've got the laptop
Cleveland
plugged into
Steam.
Okay.
the flat screen.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
So what do? You just sit down, go for completion.
That's a bit personal.
Yeah,
continues.
basically, just fight our way through it, stage by stage. She is always Blaze, and I guess
Nice.
that leaves me with Axel.
But she doesn't like you beating her score, does she?
Do you look at the scores,
Ooh, buddy, it's bad news. She tends to last longer in the fight, but you know, I go for maximum carnage. I have a far higher score.
Cletus
I
Cassidy.
rarely look at the score in that game. Maybe I should.
Oh, she hangs a lot of consequence on it, I must say. She gets angry. Big
Does it
time.
translate into the bedroom?
So have you completed all three?
Yes, and I must say, if you can get your hands on the Japanese release, the Bare Knuckle 3,
Yeah.
it's great, man.
Oh man.
Don't waste your time with the European version.
Really? What's the difference then?
Well, the color palettes on the characters is different.
The
for one,
color
that's
palettes
just
is different.
that's just cosmetic. But the difficulty of the European and American release is a huge spike, basically to stop you from finishing it after one night's rental. Basically, that's the theory behind it. But it makes it just a awkward game to play. You're like, this boss shouldn't be killing me now.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
did you
Oh,
do
man.
1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
And
Right.
the natural progression was
4.
2020's Streets of Rage 4.
Damn straight. So when you
Yeah, I must say, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. It's hitting all the right buttons.
it's buzzing your berries, as Chief would say.
Indeed, it's pumping my nads.
Oh
Um,
god.
Listen, we've confused people, and Chief's lost his memory. But I definitely do want to now put some kind of toy talk into this segment. And
Before we go, does anyone mind if I could quickly have a piss?
Yeah,
Because
do
I've
it.
drank too much Arizona green tea.
Best.
you
Let's
obviously
go,
have
man.
not learned
Chief
from
does.
Chief and just have a bottle nearby.
No, that's disgusting. That's disgusting.
How
I'll be right
used.
back.
The Golden Joes, baby.
I guess we're going to get into the toys in a minute, and that's kind of my way back in, because Phoenix is kind of into it a little bit. So,
oh, wonderful! You said you've got a Toxo Viper in a cabinet.
He's got
any
a
other
couple.
figures?
Oh God, we got lots. I mean, maybe 70, 80 figures, maybe a lot.
Great.
But I'm still going through and. Was it you, Chief? Did you send me a bunch of O-rings?
Yeah.
Was it you, or did I buy them myself? I don't know, but I think maybe you sent me some. And I've really enjoyed restoring them. It's so awesome. Yeah, it's been like when you re-bring one back to life, it's very satisfying. My God.
One of my favorite pastimes is sourcing parts to the vehicles.
Oh,
like
God.
Childhood vehicles that have been missing a seat belt or a pane of glass or a missile cap or like an antenna.
Dude, well, I might be able to hook you up, because that's what I feel like I've got, but I don't have the massive hulking bits of plastic. I've just got like the weirdest little bits of all the vehicles I had, because I think from a storage point of view, I don't know, I just don't have any vehicles. They've all gone, and I had loads.
Well, if you ever pour your parts bin out onto the floor and take a picture,
dude, I'll take a photo.
You
You might go crazy for some of them.
I don't have that vast a collection as you might think. I mean, like, I'm not
Sorry.
army building or anything, but
This guy's a
yeah,
camel.
maybe the odd piece here and there might help.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I just had to. There was a triple whammy. I did a wee, but also my dog had done a poo and a wee on the floor, so I just had to do a quick
Sorry,
clean up.
buddy.
It's all good. It's
How is
it's
she,
manageable.
by the way? She.
Phoebe was the one that did that.
Phoebe,
She's
yeah,
fine.
the
They're
little
fine.
lady.
They're doing really well. Both of them. Max is the boy, and they do great. They're having a great time out in Rhode
turds.
Island. Yeah. Although last night we had obviously July the 4th celebration. It was mental. I've never known anything like it. Like there were probably 6 that I could work out major fireworks displays surrounding us, like major ones, like in the area, and then multiple people were also setting off fireworks, and it went from about
It was a kill box.
It went from about like 6-7 o'clock all the way through to like 1 a.m, and the dogs obviously were just hating it. Max is okay, he's quite calm, but Phoebe was just, she just did not have fun at all, poor thing. In any case, sorry to, let's carry on with the episode. I apologise for that.
That's all good.
Where are we, Chief? Toy talk?
So it's time to talk about some toys, and on a recent episode of Talking Joe, I broached the question to S-Jubs about, do kids still play with Joe's action figures, or I'm by no means an expert in toy collecting, especially adult toy collecting. You boys at S-Jubs and Diagnostic would be more experts than me, and I guess the market now is definitely geared towards an older audience, but I kind of suggested or asked the question, do kids still play with G.I. Joes, young kids? And you actually put this question to your pal S-Jubs, and his son actually weighed in with a response.
Buddy, I didn't even have to put it out to my pal.
Oh, right.
His son listens to us.
Right.
You better rein in that language, Chief.
Beep, 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 beep.
He says the odd S or F doesn't really put this kid off.
And he's
but
7, is that right?
He turns 9 in August, actually, Chief. But, I mean, he was 7 once upon a time, too. and he has been a G.I. Joe kid growing up now. Obviously, Dad's a big collector, but this is what this young man had to say.
I love playing outside with my toys, especially in the front yard, because especially in the landscaping, I even make bases out of the stones. The driveway and the tree in our front yard, those are also very great places. It is very fun to play outside. Once I played outside for 13 hours solid, and then got upset when I was asked to come in for the evening because they were trying to minimize my free time. That's how fun playing outside is. Until recently, I only had Neelan, a friend who lives about an hour away, that knew or cared about action figures. He is a kid who plays with Joes. Most kids play with Nerf, Pokemon, or video games at my school. That stuff, sort of, to me, is boring. It's mostly hard because other kids don't know what I'm talking about. G.I. Joe is not as popular as it was back in the day when, like, you two were kids. Like, my dad was a kid. But we don't have that kind of stuff where you can just waltz into a store, like, pick up a few Joes, read the file cards. Recently, I helped introduce some kids into G.I. Joe. My friend Rosalind, my friend Miles, Finn, and London. Miles had a few, but didn't know that much. Miles knows the cartoons and has a couple of figures from his dad. I would rather play action figures than most other things, but I do like Nerf and building obstacle courses. And the obstacle courses are always really fun. You can do anything with toys. You make up everything, create the story, but video games, you have limited moves. You can't, like, for, say, a Legend of Zelda, you can't kick people, monsters, and defeat them. And you can't make up the dungeons. Like, you don't get to choose the monsters you fight. But with action figures, you get to choose the story, you get to kit people. It is very more fun. So here's some of my favorite toy lines. ARAH G.I. Joe, Mask, the G.I. Joe Classified Series 6-inch, Creo G.I. Joe, Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the Alternation line. I really like that. And Fishman from Fortnite 6-inch. I hope this helps answer your questions, Chief.
Thanks, little dude. Awesome personal account, that. But obviously it can't be easy to be the only kid who enjoys Joe. Maybe, Ben, you can speak to some of the difficulties there are in cultivating a play culture with your own kids.
Well, no, are you specifically saying, I think there's a difference between playing with G.I. Joe action figures or just action figures in general? Because, I mean, is there anything out from G.I. Joe for 8-9-year-old? Or is it all just adult-based, like super high detail, expensive? Like, is there a 3-inch line out? I don't know. I don't think there is.
I walk through the toy aisles, and 3 3/4-inch action figures still have a place. You know, there are the odd Star Wars figures. Yeah, no, sure. G.I. Joe's disappeared from that scale completely. Chris, maybe you can speak to that. Certainly, G.I. Joe might have had an upgrade in your eyes. I mean, are you a fan of the 6-inch? I believe you are, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 6-inch, but mainly because that sounds gross. I'm a big fan of the 12-inch as well. No, I'm a big fan of the 6-inch, yes, but I understand there's a couple of interesting points here. One is that we're talking, at the moment, currently, they've only just hit retail. They only hit retail on the 1st, and it's spotty at best in terms of distribution. So
yeah, I've seen some of the pictures, but you had yours, early doors, didn't you? Like
I had one of them early doors,
okay,
from but I still haven't got the rest of them. I got the Snake Eyes Deluxe figure kind of early-ish.
Yeah.
But they've kind of been trickling in and out the 6-inch line. A lot of people have them, what have you. In terms of the toy aisles, in terms of children, the first point I'll make there is that I think if the parents are into it, then the kids usually do gravitate to it a little bit. I've got a lot of friends in the G.I. Joe community who have kids, and I've noticed that they'll always, their kids are always into it. They always come to the shows and they always enjoy themselves, and they collect themselves, figures or whatever. The 3 3/4 line is up in the air at the moment because Hasbro are doing a retro line.
Yeah.
Now we believe it is going to be a 3 3/4 reproduction of what came in like the early 80s and following that. We know the figures involved. It's Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, Baroness, Destro, Duke, etc., Roadblock. They're the figures that you're going to be getting in that wave, and you're also getting a Hiss Tank and an Ore Striker. In actual fact, that's two waves combined. Now, we know this from like official documentation, but we haven't seen anything yet. We don't know what Hasbro are going to do. They might change their tack. They might pivot. It's not out of the realms of possibility that they just take all of that off the table, scrap it and move on. But I think there's a place for it, and there's a lot of people, still adults, that are wanting it. Also, I must say, there's also a core figure assortment that's going to be coming along with the movie, and that's just basic figures of maybe 4 to 5 inch size, very basic, less articulation, probably more aimed at kids.
There's a very mainstream, surely, wide, pushed out.
Exactly. And then they'll also Titan figures, which are those big clunky 12-inch things that are always rubbish and have hardly any articulation, but they'll be aimed at kids too. So when the film comes out, there's going to be more of it, I believe. But to kind of make the point, kids will play with them and they'll be excited about them and they'll love them, usually if their parents have given them that doorway to go through, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Now, that 6-inch classified line, which looked great, I know with any kind of fan-based thing, you're going to get detractors because people want things a certain way, and if it's not exactly what they wanted, they're going to complain. But I think, and in general, the reaction seems to have been positive towards them. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen them at all, Ben, the 6-inch Joes, but they look fantastic. Is
it basically like Star Wars Black Series?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that something that you would consider getting for Phoenix or not?
It's something I'd consider getting for both of us. I think we both kind of curate cabinets. So I have one down here in the retro room where I've got my favourite G.I. Joe figures in, and then he's got one in his room. And it was like what you guys were saying. It's like, I just chucked a bag full of 80 G.I. Joe figures in front of him, and he lost his mind. He was like, what are these? Because he's not used to action figures, and we play with them all the time, but there's no way he would have gravitated to them without my input. And I think on a kind of wider theme, my problem with action figures is I just think laziness from the toy companies and a sort of just a churning culture. I think the Star Wars figures are a really good example of just so many different lines, so convoluted. So when I was collecting G.I. Joes, it was just very, you'd get the season would come out. Yeah. You'd have X amount of months and you'd collect them and you knew where you kind of were with it. And I find the toy lines just on a base level quite confusing. I agree. And kids actually do like collecting things, but then sometimes you don't know what series you're collecting. It could be this, it could be that. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't feel like they put as much money into them.
It just occurred to me now, Ben, that perhaps what we're chasing is that culture of the included pamphlets, and knowing what the products are, the vehicles, the figures, the characters, the artwork.
The profile card was everything, and the artwork was everything, and reading those profile cards was everything when I was a kid. It just, you filled in the blanks. You sort of did some headcanon, but you were sort of grounded to what they said about the characters. And although a blank canvas is good for kids, I just feel like the toy companies, there's no story, there's no mythology, there's nothing.
When Phoenix does he play on his own with the Joes and make up his own stories and stuff?
Yeah, and he's actually kind of more into a photography kind of point of view now. So he actually really enjoys doing setups and stuff.
Cool.
Which is, it's great to see. It's lovely. But
it's the natural progression, isn't it?
Yeah. Adult playtime, yeah.
It's not really represented. He's playing with toys from the 80s. There's nothing. I don't feel like there's any company that has done it well for a long time.
Yeah.
In a kind of mass market way. And my wife is all over this with toys. And she just thinks that it is just looking at stuff through the same old lens.
I agree with that.
It's a bit like the issue that we've just read. You cannot rest. If toy companies don't change, it is over.
Innovate, change.
For so many of them. A film comes out, this film will come out, Snake Eyes will come out, and are they actually really thinking about that toy line? Are they really, doing research, figuring out what they want it to be, or are they going to slap a load of branding on it, and it will be out and gone, and it will be like it never happened.
That's the thing. That's what companies do now, especially with films, because there's such a short shelf life of these things. It's like the only thing they can do to keep up is have you know, they have to kind of be in league with the movie, for one. They have to kind of be in communication with what's happening and the characters and the designs and so on and so forth years in advance. You know, like they've probably trimmed it down to just over a year now in terms of development to production, the big companies, obviously. But even then, it's going to take 2 years comfortably to go from concept to design. So they have to do this well in advance, one. Two, they do, like you say, they just have to churn shit out. Like they have to go, and this is the thing I've really always been confused about, is why they really fill the market with all these different scales, and this is for this age range, 0 to 5. This is for this age range, 5 to 10. This is for this age, and you're like, just make a fucking toy and let them decide whether they'll play with it or not. Because like, I hate seeing all of this product just sitting on a shelf not selling, because the only people that care about it are 40 plus adults. Yeah. So it's like, you know, they're not going to collect the friggin' combat heroes necessarily. I know I did, but I did it not happily.
But well, that leads on to an interesting point. So you and S-Jubs, big into G.I. Joe toys, but in almost different ways. So S-Jubs, your kind of devout vintage 3 3/4 line, and you won't really entertain anything else. But Chris, will you pretty much buy anything toy-wise if it's got a G.I. Joe branding on it?
Take all of those words out, apart from Chris, will you just buy anything? And is the answer. Like I think the branding has a lot to do with it, yes, but at the same time, I'm heavily invested in this brand, heavily. Like, you know, I wouldn't do a friggin' podcast and news burst and all this shit about it if I wasn't. But
there's been some interest in the G.I. G.I. Joe fanny pack, isn't that right, Chris?
Oh hell yeah! And I retweeted it and I shared that shit. I thought it was great. B.A.T. I want one just for the freaking Storm Shadow V2 on the front. Anyway, but like at the same, like I'm kind of. I'm excited for what comes next and what they do. And the 6-inch line, like, okay, so something I wanted to mention, I spoke to Lenny Panzica, who was the lead designer on the G.I. Joe Classified line.
Great interview, by the way. Thank you
very
for
much.
That.
I appreciate that very much.
Good
Thank you. I'll pay you later. So I'll buy that fucking fanny pack. Okay, I'll buy it. Oh, God's sake. But it went really well, and Lenny kind of divulged a few things. One of the things was that they want to sell these to kids, these 6-inch figures, and that is definitely something Hasbro have done a lot of market research on. Whether that's the correct response from that market research is another question. I know, Ben, your wife is into that thing, and she does amazing work with lots of huge companies as well, which just always blows my mind. And
but do you think that it's on kids' radar? I know that they want kids to buy them, but
no, you're
what's
right.
the connection?
Because you mentioned it, Chris, that you were saying, is distribution a problem? Because you go into the shops and they're just not on the shelves. If they're not with big promo, then
it's a one-side end cap of about 12 figures, like a tall cardboard end cap, and that's it. And I kind of think that's not going to be like grasping a kid if it's hidden away on a corner somewhere, because I tell you now, I have missed stuff as an adult searching and hunting on end caps, because my focus isn't there necessarily. It's on like the main aisle, and where are they in the main aisle? So there's the fact that, like, yes, they're shiny and they look cool and they've got bright colors and everything, but that isn't the be all and end all for kids. When I was a kid and I was into G.I. Joe and Action Force, it was exactly what you said. It was the artwork on the box, which I must admit, it's really cool that they've got loads of individual artists to do all the artwork for the characters on each box, which I think is pretty neat. But it's so small on the box that, you know, it's not necessarily like it used to be back in the day, where the art was the main feature that pulled you in. The figure, as you looked at it, was like, oh, that looks really cool. It's got loads of accessories. Awesome. Flip it over. Cross-sell galore. On the bottom, the file card, and you're just like melting all this amazing information, and you're like, they all have this, and it's like, oh my God, there's it creates in your brain like that you've got this storyline that you mentioned before. Now, I'm not saying that 6-inch isn't doing that, but it's not doing it as well as it was doing for kids back in the 80s. So I think that, you know, I'm not saying Hasbro are wrong. I'm saying Hasbro have got priorities, and G.I. Joe isn't necessarily a priority when it comes to the other things on their stable. But they're still pushing it in a big way. Like, we've had a huge Fan First Friday, but it just all seems to be heavily towards the adult collector.
Quick question. In terms of G.I. Joe as a toy, and varying levels of success, but has it been pretty much present since the beginning of that early 80s through to... Has there always been G.I. Joe toys of varying degrees of success?
1964, baby.
Yeah, and
so
it just got
82 to 94, 97 to 2018.
It kind of got me thinking, is that does that even beat out kind of Star Wars? Because was there ever a break in Star Wars toys?
Yeah, of course, massive.
G.I. Joe invented the term action figure.
So that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It has to be labelled as a successful toy brand in some sense of the word, just on longevity alone, surely.
I think you'd have had to have hunted some of those lines out, though. I'm not sure you could rock up at your local Toys R Us and every year see G.I. Joe toys. Maybe you could. I might have got that wrong.
Not in the UK.
G.I. Joe didn't have a blockbuster film attached to it, and he was creating toys the size of the USS Flag and Defiant Launch Complex. I think the success of G.I. Joe can be measured in the fact that it is its own mythology and produced the most ambitious toys ever created in the history of toys ever. G.I. Joe is number one. There's no disputing that. Unfortunately, it's fallen from grace.
Also, Hasbro don't have to pay any license fees because it's theirs, so it is pure profit whatever they make.
Yeah.
Since you sent me the O-rings, Chief, and I've been resurrecting my figures, I've been like dipping my toes into eBay, and I'm like, wow, they're like the Kenner Star Wars original line in terms of value. They're worth big bucks, and there's such a big scene out there for that original line, which I'm guessing you are balls deep in. S-Jubs.
You know it, baby. Pumping my nads.
Yeah.
Tweaking the tackle.
Tuning my knob.
It's expensive, man. What's your collection like?
Well, look, I got on before the spike. The prices have spiked even as recently as the last 6 months.
I thought that there must have been a sweet spot. There must have been like the kind of 50p years.
Not quite as good as that, but like when I got onto eBay for the first time, it was like $19.99.
That's expensive.
And my currency was still great. Like the rand was like 10 rand to the dollar, which was a very favorable rate of exchange. It's now double that.
Right.
And so I got in when the getting was good. I was earning good money. As a late teen, early 20-something, you don't have anything to spend it on but yourself. So, man, those are the boom years, man. Big time.
So how many 3 3/4 do you have?
Look, this is going to sound very modest.
Are you trying to basically, are you
No, I'm not a completionist, and I'm not an army builder either. I cherry pick my favorites, and I make sure that I absolutely treasure them. And I must say, like, of my favorites, the best toys in my collection are my childhood ones. The ones with loose knees, paint scuffs, a little bit of fading thanks to the many hours out in the yard in the sun. Like, those guys are my prized possessions. I don't actually collect mint.
Man, each one's got so many memories.
But that's something you touched on, something there, and this isn't something that when me and Ben were collecting, that ever really got on the radar. And you mentioned army building there. We were very much of completing the wave of figures, so just one of each set.
No, Chief, not myself.
Were you an army builder?
No, I had like 10 Iron Grenadiers.
Oh, did you?
I was so into Destro's forces. Right. I loved buying multiple. I've got like 7 Heat Vipers.
Have you? Oh, right.
Like 4 Tox. Yeah, I was big into that.
Funny you should say that. I've got a Destro version 2 and 2 Iron Grenadiers staring at me right now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I've got Destro version 2s in the cabinet. He's so good.
Good design. Damn.
Yeah, I saw it. Did you guys post out this is a question, a Night Viper on your Insta?
Yeah, that was last week's toy.
Yeah. So just from a toy point of view, because when I'm like on Instagram, I'm seeing all these G.I. Joe collectors, is like modding your figures like a really big thing, like paint jobs and stuff. Because I see all these like Night Vipers, and I'm like, there's like 8 colours here. I was like, I don't remember any of this, but they're 3 3/4. What's going on there?
Yeah, but what you got to remember is that's like version 14 or whatever.
Right, you're saying they went on and made that many new ones?
Yeah.
Wow, I thought it was dead and gone.
On top of that, the custom culture is huge.
And casting, yeah.
No, yeah, because some of these, Chief, these aren't legit. They weren't making... Some of the colours are crazy.
Diagnostic, tell me, how many versions of Snake Eyes have there been in 3 3/4?
Well, in 3
Off the top of your
3/4,
head.
58 or
58
60
versions
something.
in 3 3/4.
Wow.
Official versions.
wild.
And then, of course, the customs market then takes on after that.
68,
Yeah.
sorry, I meant
68,
68.
yeah.
Jeez, man, that's wild. Okay. Well, regarding the Night Viper, the first one's the best one.
Agreed.
In terms of the Night Viper, though, there's only been like a couple of Night Vipers. What you're probably
Oh, is there?
discussing there are the casts that people like Crimson Guard Immortal and Hypno Shield and Raging Spoon. They do a lot of cast figures on vintage kind of molds, and they'll do ridiculous colours and stuff.
I see, but they seem to be very popular in the toy photography kind of thing. All of these different colours and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, then you've got like Red Laser and you've got Black Major who do bootleg figures in the
Right.
O-ring style, and they they do like runs of like random Tiger Force characters that were never in Tiger Force, like Thunder and friggin' there's loads. Starduster is what I meant. Sorry, and you've got like they do all sorts of cool stuff like that.
I did dip my toes into the eBay market, and I was priced out, man. I was like, this is insane. It's big bucks. Jeez.
So was that trying to buy figures that had a childhood nostalgia attached to them?
Yeah, well, yes, and like the ones that I never had that always wanted. Like I never had a version 1 Storm Shadow. Even though it does seem like version 2 seems to be like the badass one that people love.
I
And
love version 2.
I have him in the cabinet, fully kitted out.
If the retro line's anything to go by, you'll be able to buy one quite comfortably in the UK from In Demand Toys, from Kapow Toys, because they'll be selling the retro figures. So they'll be doing like an original repro style Storm Shadow again.
Oh, nice.
When would the final release information be with kind of images, would you anticipate?
Goodness knows.
Right.
Like the 6-inch leaked early, so that kind of ruined Hasbro's big reveal at Toy Fair. Then more images leaked prior to their FanFest Friday, but they did manage to keep a version 3 Storm Shadow repaint, basically as a secret, which was amazing. The Amazon exclusive looks insane. And I mean, that original vintage figure, Stephen, I'm sure you'll agree, is cool looking.
Oh, that's the one that I've also got staring at me. Like you guys are waxing on about version 2 Storm Shadow. Well, it's version 3 for me, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I'm convinced that I left my original childhood one in a London tube somewhere.
Oh, wow.
I'll get it. I'll pick it up.
Still
Yeah.
there.
Broke my heart, man. He's been riding the tubes for
Just on the circle line.
30 years.
He's been arrested, no doubt, for not paying his fee.
Or walking around with a sick-looking sickle and katana.
Amazing.
Chief, you haven't got any, have you? From your childhood collection?
Joe.
Oh
Some still.
no! Chief dangles his carrot every fucking episode. He's got so many.
No,
It's breaking my mind.
Not so many.
Valuable.
30 or 40.
Dude, you've got a swivel arm Scarlet. I was like, oh man, I really need to get a Scarlet. Like, I've never had the classic Scarlet. You're just like, oh, what, this? Ha ha! Hilarious.
Yeah, I got a Scarlet. Yeah. No, I've got a few good ones still. Yeah. We're going to do maybe
Nice,
an episode, a special episode on Talking Joe, like Chief's Treasure Chest, where because I never really go into the box, where I'm just going to not even go into it now. I'm just going to do it kind of live on the show, open up the box and just have a dig in and see what I can find.
Sounds sexy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I must say, this section took on a life of its own, and I'm grateful for it because, it's nice to hear the 4 hosts of Talking Joe just unleashed. But I do hope one day we can talk, gentlemen, quite candidly about how we used to play as children.
Yes.
Because I think everyone had their own distinctive flavour.
Yeah,
but
totally.
perhaps we can tackle that in a future special ep.
Yeah, can we save
Let's
that
say,
for
gentlemen.
episode 100 maybe?
300.
I'd like to do that. Play psychology. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That sounds good.
I'm down.
Absolutely. Like your earliest memories of like making it up, What were you doing with your fingers?
Yeah, I think just so much more advanced than like what my kids are doing with them, which makes me scared that they don't have the kind of imagination maybe that I had. Just because they're spoiled for stuff.
All right then,
Yeah,
quick fire round. Just going around the mic.
Go on.
Your earliest G.I. Joe plot. Who were the characters? What did you do?
Oh my god, my plot was always the same, and it was about like the longevity. So it would be about going on a mission that would start in one corner of the house, but I would have to go like downstairs, then outside, and I'd plant the Cobras outside, and then I'd have to get my Joes to them, but I'd do it in like real time. Ooh. And then stuff would happen on the way. There'd be like skirmishes, but it was all about being on a patrol. That was the whole thing. God, man, I remember it so well. There'd be japes and scrapes that would happen on the way, but you'd end up like in the garden outside, miles away from where you started, and you'd lose people on the way.
Oh, sick.
Usually I'd always be in the Havoc. So you'd have cross country in there, Snake Eyes obviously. Oh my God, Lady J.
Who was in the gun chair?
Oh, geez.
And who was in the hovercraft?
I loved vehicles. I counted the dots, and I thought the best vehicles were the ones where you could get as many figures as possible on there. And Havoc was good for that because you had like 3 dots either side.
Yeah, just riding the sort of the missile pontoons basically. Like,
yeah.
Don't light those bad boys up while you got people standing back there.
And then Chief would play in a different way, and then I'd get more into setups and like photography and stuff like that.
My one was always Joes in a base, or sometimes Cobras in a base, but the Joes or the Cobras had to just be doing manual labour. So they'd be carrying logs around or breaking up rocks, and whoever the opposing force was just kind of hiding in the bushes ready to lay assault to the base. But it was all about the actual attack was, probably 1/4 of the play session. 3/4 of it was just setting up the base and the people in it. And the base was just made in the garden from, digging up a bit of garden, filling a trench or a moat with water, and just getting the general setup ready. But what about you, Diagnostic?
My play patterns were kind of like I used to love separating my teams into individual like specialties. So I'd have all my winter Joes together, and they would run winter operations, and I'd play like little winter operations games. I had a Cobra Wolf, and I had a Snowcat, and I had a couple of other vehicles kind of like snow based. So I'd have like this, I'd do everything very organized. It was really nerdy. And I had friends that would have like other vehicles that I didn't have. So I would go around there, and my mate had a Tomahawk, but because he had it, I didn't feel the need to have it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I got that for Christmas. That was epic.
And I was always like gutted.
Got
I
one
didn't
coming
have
in
one.
the mail today, hopefully.
Oh man,
it's amazing.
Lift ticket? Is he coming with it?
Yeah, no mic though, unfortunately. But yeah, I've got to get a Tomahawk. It's my favorite vehicle. I've got 2 back in South Africa, but that doesn't help me out here.
My lift ticket's got his nose missing, man.
Common melody. A little bit of frostbite up
Heavy
there.
crash, yeah.
Oh, that too.
Chief, do you remember doing like wrestling with them, like sort of WWE style?
No.
I remember me and you like doing like wrestling with them.
Interesting.
Like, proper matches with Big Bo, was it?
We never crossed over though, did we? We never crossed over Joes with Star Wars or anything.
Oh, I never did that. I never crossed the streams.
No, they were separate eras. Yeah, it was a different time. I remember lazzing. What was it? Air Patrol. What was the
Sky Patrol?
Sky Patrol. That's it. Those parachutes were garbage. I remember lazzing those out my window.
There you go. There's another colloquialism for you. Lazzing.
They'd always stay like folded up, wouldn't they? Like, and then it just hit the ground like flapping away.
Yeah, and my son's got some really awesome parachutes with these little sort of plastic action figures on that really work well now. They're like all fabric and they're so cool.
Can
I'm
you
like,
get a Joe on there?
Where the heck were
Can you
these?
substitute a Joe for that or not?
Yeah, you could definitely get a Joe on there. Might have to do that tomorrow.
Oh man, in JoeCon 2018, Chris, you must have missed this, man. But like, there were guys throwing 12-inch Joes off that parking structure, and those parachutes are incredible. They're
great. Yeah,
they're made of parachute material, like actual fabric stitched together. Like, and 12-inch Joes are obviously
heavy
freaking heavy.
Fudge.
Yeah, and they're so graceful in the descent. I mean, yeah, amazing.
And my first action man was the SAS Paratrooper, and it was the Parrot Attack, where it's like in all black. He's got the kind of, it's like a pilot helmet, but for him free falling, and it's got the visor that comes down, and you had this whole like Darth Vader computer chest section type thing as well, and everything. It was amazing. Nice. And I used to lug him out of my window. My house it was only like 2 stories, but it wasn't very high, and I used to throw him out, and he would never really catch, but I would just be lugging him onto the floor basically from my window. But that was a lot of fun.
Wicked.
In terms of toy memories, okay, confession time. I think I finally stopped playing properly with G.I. Joe at about age 25.
Solid age.
I had two mates who were like, we made role-playing out of it. Like, it was pretty intense stuff and a great exercise in kind of suspension of disbelief. Almost like an acting exercise, except using action figures as your avatars. But the earliest memory I think I have of G.I. Joe was my initial two figures was Iceberg and Monkey Wrench. And the play pattern took place on the top of my bed. I had never experienced snow, but I had watched The Empire Strikes Back. And the concept of like a whiteout, where you can literally not see your hand in front of your face, was so exciting to me. Like just making this like very strategic cat and mouse tracking game of like, we've seen some footprints in the snow. The bad guy must be this way. That kind of... Yeah, man, it was fantastically suspenseful. And I think I was all of about 4 or 5 years old.
That's so cool.
So that is my earliest, like, primal memory of playing with G.I. Joe toys.
That's great.
Chief, do you remember when you came round and did you did D&D but with G.I. Joe?
No,
Oh, sick.
I do not remember that, but it sounds amazing.
Dude, you came round and you were the story
DM.
master, and it was me and Gav, and
Story
you
master.
wrote
Story
out
master.
like all the profiles and their stuff. I was roadblocked. You know, that was sick. I can't, and I wanted you to do it again, and it never happened.
Right. Obviously a shit story master.
Jeez.
Well, when Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde finally meet up in person,
and Stinky,
Stinky, whatever, Winky, we better revive this G.I. Joe D&D game, Chief.
Oh man,
I think that would be incredible.
All right.
I'm going to think of what that story... If I think hard enough, I'll remember that story.
Please do. Before we go, I do want to very, very quickly touch on...
Finished a bottle of rosé here.
Oh, jeepers.
does not surprise me.
I finished a bottle of Mountain Dew Energized here.
I did not finish the root beer. Coming up soon, we have got Cobra Convergence, which... Talking Joe has never been a part of. S-Jubs and Diagnostic have previously contributed here, but can you leak anything, Chris, about what you're...
I've already gone to the toilet, mate, so I'm good.
About what you might be including, or is it hush-hush?
No, it's not hush-hush with me. I mean, I'm doing a top 10 Cobra Commander figures.
Nice.
Versions, I should say. I'm doing that for like a Diagnostic 80 full force combo video thingy.
For those who don't know, Ben included, I'm sure most listeners will. Does anyone want to give a quick cliff notes on Cobra Convergence, what it is?
Hooded Cobra Commander 788, the sort of premier G.I. Joe toy reviewer on the YouTubes, loves his content creator community building. So I think it was something that he started 5 years ago with just him and the other G.I. Joe reviewers on YouTube, and has now subsequently expanded to include podcasts, photographers, Instagrammers, basically everyone on his short list of content creators gets a day in August, which is their Cobra Convergence 5 day, and everyone else's traffic or channel is used to promote that person's endeavors. I guess it's just a way of building audiences and showing off exactly how much G.I. Joe content exists on the interwebs. So, wonderful initiative, and I'm so glad that Talking Joe cracked the nod.
Yes.
Well, you guys are big players in the G.I. Joe fandom world, aren't you?
No,
now?
I think
You must be.
Talking Joe is not a big player in the world. It's probably,
I think it is, man.
maybe from a comic discussion point of view, but overall there's much bigger content creators out there. But it's good that Talking Joe, we're going to be on August the 10th, I think. Me and S-Jubs will be doing a review and discussion, and maybe a little bit of role play maybe on the IDW Cobra 4-issue miniseries. So that'll be coming on 10th of August. Full Force, Chris, is going to be on the 3rd of August, I think. And G.I. Joeberg, you're kicking it off on the 1st of August.
Oh, God, what are we going to do? But, Ben, the seed that you planted with Talking Joe has taken root, man. And I must say, the sky's the limit. Like, this, I love this show and the quality of its custodianship. It's a good product, and I think that, like, absolutely, we are major players. This product is. And so thank you, listeners, actually.
Yeah, always thank the listeners. but ultimately the show doesn't exist without 4 great people presenting it. So there you go.
Yeah, go us. Raise a toast.
Backslapping, yeah, why not?
Slapping what?
It's been really cool to just dive back in and throw myself back into G.I. Joe. I haven't thought about it for a long time, to be honest with you. So it's been really nice. So thanks for having me on.
Thanks for everyone for coming on this. We tried to put the team back together a couple of times, and absolutely buzzing my berries.
Failed.
Failed. And but now it's happened. It's absolutely had a whale of a time. I'm in an absolute big pile of shit because I told the missus I'd be done at 10:30 p.m. so as not to be too noisy when I come down there.
It's now 6 a.m. in the morning.
Ladder. I'm 45 minutes overdue. I'm going to get a massive talking to.
A talking Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Your berries might not be buzzing.
No.
They might be hurting.
They'll be in the bin.
Yeah, buzzing in the wrong way. Throbbing.
She's going to be tuning you, my brew. Tuning you hard.
Yeah. Listen, before we close, where can the good folks find your fine work?
Always in the same place, guys. The Full Force Podcast on all major outlets. Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course Patreon.
Yep, the premier G.I. Joe news content site out there. G.I. Joeberg, Steve S. Jobs, where can the people find you?
Hey, you said it, baby. G.I. Joeberg. That's a G, an I, a J, O, E. No. B-U-R-G. Fuck it.
I'd have said a G, an I, a Joe, and a Berg.
Yeah, I would have said
that's
that.
how I would have.
That's that Mountain Dew. Stay away from that Mountain
the
Dew.
I, the J. Nice. Yeah. Or you can hit up any of the Talking Joe socials. I will probably pass my eye, and you can throw me under the bus or tell me I'm doing a shitty job.
You're doing a great job. Amazing job.
Thanks, baby.
And also, I have to say, like, being part of this show, I always loved being part of it. Unfortunately, life took over and I couldn't commit as much to it in the end. But I couldn't have been happier to have Steve, who is like, a huge, like, beacon of the G.I. Joe community globally, take over. So I couldn't have been more happier to have a cooler successor, basically.
Chris, the door's always on a revolve, baby.
Hey, anyone
to leave, you mean?
Anyone's always welcome back on this show. That's
Chief's like, everyone's always welcome to leave. I'll just get someone else in.
No, I'm waiting for S Jobs. I'm waiting for S Jobs to kick me off.
That's the next.
That would be so awesome if Talking Joe keeps going, but the original hosts aren't there. That's
amazing.
That would be
like Trigger's broom from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, legacy.
14 new heads and 6 new handles or something.
That's it. Yeah. Well, it was amazing when Ben, unfortunately, due to life circumstances, had to step away, and Diagnostic came on, and not 1 week was missed. He was like, yeah, don't worry, I can fill in that. I'll record tomorrow. Or no, even that night, I'll record tonight. And it was like, what have I got here? I've got some sort of legendary cyborg man coming on. And then, same thing, paying work and life and moving kind of stepped in the way, and the amount of hours he was putting in for editing, I can't, say fairer than that. And Steve, jokingly, I said, I need a new co-host. And you were like, private message, I'll do it. Like, what? I'm recording tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do it. I can do that. All right, fine, whatever. Just, and both willing to do the editing as well, which is a big help.
Amazing.
Ching.
But but you've got any new content coming out, Ben, on your Ben Flying Retro account or not?
Yeah, you can find me at Ben Flying Retro on Instagram, where I'm trying to make original 80s and 90s content, but it takes forever, so it's not much happening on there.
No, well, I'm trying to make a Scalextrics video as well, and that is going to take me forever because I am not a professional editor like all 3 of you guys, really. But yeah, find me on Chiefy Two Shoes pumping out some art. One piece of original art I've collected over the years. Day 53 was today, little Indiana Jones piece. Check out the Out of Timers and all that sort of stuff. But I want to thank everyone on behalf of everyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The inception of thank yous.
Thanks.
Yeah. And
everybody gets a bottle of golden piss.
Yeah. And with all that said and done, we will catch you down the road. Oh no, wait a minute. We've been the Talking Joes.
We're all out of Joe.
We're all out of Joe.
So you get multiple sign-offs on this one. That's amazing.
Yeah, do you want one? I don't know. I've got no idea what's going on anymore.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Ladies, guys.
Ladies.
Yo!